Hello friends, Zevalar here and welcome to the Warframe research, which I am now formally calling the playground. So, the whole point of this is just to showcase a build and have some fun with it. Also, don't mind my Kavat being an exorcist, I just noticed that. I got eyes on you, cat. Alright, anyway. If you appreciate the research, if you appreciate the fun, like I do, feel free to like and sub to the page. It's free, you can undo it whenever you want. Now, intro is out of the way. So what do I have for you guys today? Well, let's start it off with a very simple message. The Techrot Encore is real. So I spent yesterday farming the balls off of the Techrot Encore. Okay? I spent yesterday farming the balls off of this patch. And I have 2 new items to show you. So first off, as you can see, I got Temple, the new Warframe. Second, I have my first Coda weapon to showcase in this video, the Dual Coda Torxica. And then finally, I have Temple's exalted weapon, Lizzie. So, we got 3 builds to cover, so we gotta make good time. So let's start with Temple. So first off, you got ability strength, you're going growing power, augur secrets, and intensify for some ability strength. I also ran more augmented. For ability efficiency and or energy, I'm doing streamline and energy nexus. You'll see why I didn't do much more efficiency once we're in a mission. For ability duration, I have prime continuity. And then for survival, I have Archon Vitality and Adaptation and Archon Guardian. So, before we move on, what does Temple even do, and why have I modded him the way I have? Them the way I have. Sorry. So, the passive ability is Temple has a little metronome effect, right? It like sways back and forth, and there's a little Goldilocks spot. So if you hit your ability timing, right? If you time your ability and hit it in the Goldilocks spot, it will make the ability stronger and also give you increased ability efficiency. So with Streamline, that's like an easy 185. That's an easy, that's an easy capped out ability efficiency. That said, let's get into the abilities. So first off, you got pyrotechnics. You just blast. It's quite simple. Temple just plays a guitar riff and they end up blasting everything nearby with heat damage. And when you time the backbeat properly, you burn more stuff. So, and I guess it also increases the duration and heat damage of Ripper's Wail. Which, Ripper's Wail is Temple's third ability. We'll get into that in a moment. But the short version is Pyrotechnics, the spammable ability where you just burn shit. Alright. Second ability is Overdrive. So the short version is it's like a little frontal cone of damage that also makes enemies take more crit chance. So this is unrelated to your weapon. If you were to bring Zacti Prime if you were to bring like Zacti Prime without any crit mods or secondary enervate, this would be like tacking an additive. I think it's additive. Either way, this would be like tacking extra crit chance onto your Zacti Prime. Okay. Then overdrive bonus. Well, okay. The backbeat timing increases your crit chance. It also increases the duration and heat damage of Ripper's Wail when it deals damage. On that note, we're getting the Ripper's Wail. So, Ripper's Wail is... It makes you immune to damage. It gives you a really freaking powerful self-heal. I'll tell you that right now. But you also get extra heat damage on your weapons each time an ability is used on the backbeat and it successfully hits enemies. So, pyrotechnics and overdrive. And when you time the backbeat on Ripper's Wail and vulnerability lasts longer, in practice, I don't think it does. I'm gonna assume it's bugged, because I mean Temple is normally invulnerable for like 3 seconds, and whenever I time the backbeat, it doesn't seem like the invincibility is any longer, so I think it's bugged right now. Either way, it's good for, good for healing yourself up in a pinch. And finally, we have the Exalted Solo. Once a charge has been built up on the backbeat metronome, you set Lizzie aflame and torch and just freaking burn everything to the ground, alright? And while aimed, Lizzie blasts enemies with thunderous elemental sound waves. With the backbeat timing, you don't consume energy. Now on that note, Lizzie is, for all intents and purposes, Lizzie is a flamethrower. But she's not your average flamethrower. I mean, you can see here, Lizzie is a freaking Techrot guitar as well. Like, a Techrot guitar, the Techrot flamethrower guitar. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so, here's my build for Lizzie, right? I have put in one forma on this build, but I just moved a couple of mods around, so this is a 0 forma build. So, Galvanized Chamber for multi-shot. Galvanized Aptitude for status chance, and when you kill enemy, you deal increased direct damage per status type affecting the target. Because Lizzie is a flamethrower, that's gonna be pretty stinking good. Because here's how it goes, right? Here's how it goes. You got your normal guns, right? Like, say, Bratton, Burst On, where you shoot, and it's a hit scan, right? So the projectile goes... Wait, no, hit scans are instant. Either way. So, instant travel time. So, yeah. It's pretty much point and click. Then you have your projectiles, like, say, Kunai or Dread, where you have the projectile, and it's firing. Right, you fire the projectile, it will travel and hit a target, and it just, unless you have punch through stat, it, stops when it hits a target. Then you have, beam weapons, like, Galaxian. Kind of the same story as Hitscan, but then you have flamethrowers, like, Ignis and now Lizzie, where you fire a projectile, and this projectile passes through everything it touches. Okay? The projectile passes through the things it touches, and it deals damage to everything it touches. Just so you know how strong this is. Anyway. So, based off of my own research, I have deduced that the Sinister Reach mod is pretty much mandatory on Lizzie, okay? As you can see here, the beam range is normally 10. I believe that's 10 meters. But, 10 meters is kind of short. So Sinister Reach is doubling that length. Alright? You want Sinister Reach on Lizzie. And if you don't have Sinister Reach on Lizzie, then you won't be shooting as far. I don't know how else to say it. Anyway, I have Speed Trigger for some fire rate, Thermite Rounds for some heat damage and status chance, Vital Sense and Critical Delay for crits, and then Primary Merciless. Because I checked, and there's literally nothing else that would work on Lizzie. So, I just rolled with Primary Merciless. Whenever I get that Arcane Hotshot Arcane, I'll definitely put it on, like, Temple and Mesa. Because, you know, that seems like a pretty sick Arcane. Anyway. So that's Temple, that's Lizzie. Finally, we got the Dual Coda Torxica. Get the job done right with a pair of spore-flinging terror tools. Alright? Inflict a spore that spreads to nearby enemies on death, causing cold status effect and increased vulnerability to damage from the Torxica. Now, discrepancy I want to make right here and right now. This thing does not fling spores, it fires bullets. So, that aside, I literally just grabbed the first Torxica that was available, so it's just a 25 radiation. You know, I think the ideal valence bonus would probably be like cold or heat. That's my 2 cents about it. I would personally say cold. I mean, you guys know me at this point. I'm a corrosive cold fan. Anyway. So, we got the build. We got Pistol Pestilence and Jolt. Toxin plus electricity makes corrosive status for armor stripping. We got Magnetic Might for magnetic status. Magnetic status is, you know, very good against shields and overguard. But not only that, it gives you crit damage. Merciless Gunfight also gives you crit damage. And some punch through. So, we got Merciless Gunfight, Magnetic Might, and we also have Prime Target Cracker for 110% critical damage. So that's a total of 195% increase to critical damage. That's pretty good. So we got Hornet Strike. Did I just say horns? Whatever. Hornet Strike to really amp up the damage. And then Galvanized Shot. Same story as always. You just want that conditioned overload effect. And then Galvanized Diffusion for multi-shot. And then the Exilus I'm personally running. I personally think this is the best Exilus slot for Dual Torxica. Because, I mean, this thing does kind of chew through ammo. But I have ammo mutation on, so yeah. So this is the build I'm currently running on my Dual Torxica. I was considering personally swapping out Hornet Strike for either cold or heat, but if I were to do heat and swap this valence bonus to cold eventually, then that would make blasts. And I don't know if I want to do that on this gun. So, yeah. Now you might be wondering, right? If you have so much crit damage, and the base crit chance is 25%. Note, I never said I influenced the crit chance of this weapon. Where are you getting your crits? And that's the fun part. I went a little outside the box, and I decided to run a secondary Enervate build. On hit, you increase your crit chance by 10%. Resets after 6 big critical hit. For context, crit hit is the yellow numbers you'll see in Warframe. In my case, it's pink. Because I changed UI colors. Reset, alright. And a big critical hit is going to be an orange crit. For me, it's a deeper pink. You know, it's a deeper pink. So I'm actually running secondary Enervate on the Dual Coda Torxica. Now that said, I also want to showcase Temple before we actually get into the nitty-gritty action. So, I'll be back. Alright, so here we are in the simulacrum. And as you can see, as you can probably just immediately see, there's a little swooping gauge going back and forth below my crosshair. Yeah, that's Temple's backbeat. So here's how it works, right? Here's how it works. Just, 1, 2, and 3. If you were to hit any of these, at a time that's not the metronome, as you can see, nothing's happening. I mean, I'm still exploding the universe, but but if you were to hit it with the right timing, you can see more stuff is happening. Not only are there additional pillars, because actually wait, you can't really tell a difference. Okay, but either way, you can see that now the little sidebar is now the little bar is full. That's your backbeat fuel. And now because I have backbeat fuel, I can use the Exalted Solo, which is Temple's 4th ability with Lizzie. So that said, let's get into the action, shall we? Alright, here we go, man. I gotta say, I am seriously excited to showcase this stuff, man. So we're gonna show off the Dual Torxica a little bit first.
Underestimate them.
As you can see, this thing, like, it actually chews things up. This is a damn solid secondary gun. You can see it had no problem just eating through those Rackmasters. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely no problem. Give it a few more shots. See, it's just, you build this right, it shows you the A-grade shit. Hold on, let me go there. Sorry, my health was getting a little low. But you can see, Dual Torxica, it's literally just simple. It's just a point-and-click gun. Alright, it has a massive magazine, so you can just keep on blasting, and guess what? More blasting. And for a magazine as high as this, it's got a really fast reload speed. Alright, it's got like 2 seconds of reload speed, man. Which is pretty freaking nutty. That would go down further. The Dual Coda reload speed would go down even faster if you put on something like Secondary Merciless. Obviously, I didn't do that. Anyway. Now let's showcase Temple's abilities a little, yeah? So first off, Pyrotechnics. And, as you can see, you can actually hit the backbeat timing with no real internal. You can hit the backbeat timing every time with the Temple, with the Pyrotechnics. So you should not be struggling at all. At least if you have a sense of rhythm. I can't speak for those of you who might not have a sense of rhythm. I'm sorry. Anyway. Yeah, you also got Overdrive, so that makes enemies take more crits. The short version is it makes enemies take more crits. That said, I can't really tell if anything is happening with it. Go back to burning the universe. Actually, tell you what, I think we've gotten far enough. Let's burn some stuff. So, this is the best part, man. When you pull out Lizzie, you know everything burns. Like, it's pretty great. And if you can tell, when you aim, you get to fire out little blast waves, pretty much. So 1 gives you a viral wave, 2 gives you a magnetic wave, 4 gives you a corrosive wave, and 3 gives you a cold wave. I haven't found much use for the whole aiming thing with Lizzie, personally, but that's not to say I don't think there's a purpose for it. As you can see, though, you know, this is a zero form of Temple, zero form of Lizzie. You should have no problems. You should have no problem seeing some absolute madness out of this rock star. All right. And let's check the acolyte. Oh my god. Dude, the health bar, man. Look at the health bar. And can I take a moment? I want to take a moment too, right? Just to appreciate the sound design. Because DE did good. You know, the devs did great with this stuff. Oh. My honest reaction when sentients are doing sentient stuff. Anyway. But yeah, the sound effect, the sound design has been freaking great, man. Let's test this out. Oh, God. I got pretty low health there, but you know, you can see I just healed it all back instantly. Freaking nice. So anyway. So yeah, that's Temple. That's the Dual Coda Torxica. I mean, again, I want to take a moment to appreciate the sound design on this. Dude, this thing sounds like a machine gun. Seriously, man, Techrot Encore has been great. Next Coda weapon I'll showcase probably gonna be that Motovore. That's like a heavy weapon, I believe. I'll explain more about the Motovore once I have it. That said, I appreciate y'all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.